guys, Pastor Jeremy here. Thank you for taking the time to just catch up on all the important information that is going on with our campus, but to invest in yourself as leaders. Our campus is only going to be as strong as our small groups. And so leaders like you taking the time to just not only stay informed, but also to grow as leaders in your capacity to lead and coach people in your group is absolutely valuable to us. So thank you for doing this. We're about to wrap up our series on growing up and launch into our new series, which I'm really excited about, Marriage Killer, Killer Marriage. And it's just going to be a great time for us to focus in on relationships in marriage. Even for people who are single, the statistics say that the majority of people who are single are going to be married or they have been married. And if they're not one of those things, they've probably also thought a lot about marriage. So this series is really going to be helpful in just us growing in our ability to have healthy relationships. But I think it'll also be helpful in helping people connect to one another with everyday life experience. There's something that's bonding in a group when people can look and see how the gospel interacts with everyday interactions and everyday relationships on a pretty simple, profound way. So I'm excited for this series. I also want to let you know that I'm going to be in the process of starting to roll out a program where I'm reaching out to people, trying to get 50 people to switch over to second service from first service. Right now, we have anywhere from 170 to 200 people who are attending first service, and it feels really great. It's full, the lobby is great, but often we'll have 60, 70 people come to second service. And so one of the ways that we can really grow as a campus is free up some space during first service by having 50 people move over to second service. And I would really ask that you put this in front of the people that are in your group. And if people have been at the campus for a long time, they can probably remember back to when there were times when some of these services almost no one showed up. And you remember how brutal it can be and how hard it is to get excited. And the growth that we've experienced at the campus is just a great way for us to celebrate that, take advantage of that, and really try to get those 50 people to switch over so we can have two healthy, balanced groups. And the reason why this is important is first service is going to be much more likely visited by people who are normal church attenders. Second service is going to be much more likely to be attended by people who don't go to church. And so in order for us to be the type of church that really is reaching everybody in our community, having a strong second service is incredibly important to us. So if you can just continue to put that in front of your people, remind them of that, cast vision of that. Don't just say, hey, reminder this is happening, but also try to explain the why behind this and get people, or maybe your whole group if you can, to switch over to second service would be incredibly helpful for our campus. So that's the information that I want to make you aware of. And I want to spend just a few minutes diving into some coaching and training that I think is going to be helpful for you. Two pieces of training that we're going to do today. The very first one is just a reminder to spend time praying for your two. This is a great way for us as groups to just continue to push vision and the important parts that are a part of our church and integrate them into group life. And I would encourage you over the next few weeks, find some time in your group to simply maybe break your group up into 4 or 5 people and pray for your two. And if you've got people who are new to your group at Grace, I just explain what the two is, the heart behind it, and then break it up and give people a chance to pray and make this be a regular part of your guys' group. Don't necessarily do it every week, but on a regular basis, make this a way that you engage as a group, that you guys are praying together, that you're working together, that you're oriented together around helping people figure out who their two are. The second thing has to do with inviting. The marriage series is a great opportunity for us to invest and invite in people that we care about. And so I want to break out a couple of different things that are really helpful for us to think about when it comes to inviting. And there's 4 things in particular that are helpful. The very first thing is that we want to think about connection. When we do an invitation to someone, we want to think about how we want to connect with people. All this is going to be written up, by the way. So feel free to take it to your group and actually walk through it and coach the people that are in your group on how to invite better. To think connection. Don't just invite people to your church, but try to think connection. How can you connect with them? Plan to meet with the people that you're inviting them. Don't just say, hey, come to my church. I'll meet you in the lobby. Let's get together. Then let's go maybe even after service is over and get lunch together, get coffee together. Just think relationally, think connection. So it's not just an invitation to a service, but you're inviting them to relationship. And then if at best you can, introduce them to as many people as you possibly can at the campus. This is just a great way, one, to connect to going back to the two, especially if the people that you invited are one of your two, but to help them get connected to the people that are in your small group, the people that you know, the people, your friends. Show off your friend that you're proud that they're here. This is reaffirming for them, and it just helps them get connected to the life of our campus as well as to you. The second thing is, remember, be specific. Don't just invite them to church, invite them to a specific service. For instance, if I have a friend that I want to invite to Marriage Killer, Killer Marriage, and say, Hey Chucky, I want to let you know that our church is doing this thing on marriage. And I don't know about you, but marriage has been challenging and hard. And I know you're not much of a church person, but I think this series would be really helpful and interesting to you. And I'd love to grab lunch with you afterwards. I think it'd be fun for us to go and talk about it. And I'd love to hear your opinion on the service and what church was like for you. Would you be available to join us this next Sunday for our second service, which is at 11:15 a.m.? Be as incredibly specific as you can. Don't throw out a generic thing. It's kind of like your passive-aggressive friend. You say, hey, you want to hang out with? And they say, sure, I'd love to hang out sometime. They never actually get specific. It shows that there's not an extra level of connection. It's really easy to be passive and say, sure, I'd love to come, but not providing the specifics makes it difficult for them to actually get up and go. Third thing, lead with hope. One of the things that is incredibly important for us is for you to recognize that God wants to change people's heart, and God is capable of changing anyone's heart. So we want to be hopeful and engaged with how we do this pitch. We say, hey, I really think this is going to be a really cool experience. I think you'd love it. I think your kids would love our kids class, and it would be a fun experience for you. If you've ever had an invitation where someone says, hey, we're doing this family reunion thing, it's probably going to suck, but if you're not doing anything else, maybe you should check it out. I mean, that just sounds absurd and silly. No way anyone would respond to that. But when we respond with hope, really what we recognize that we're doing is by an invitation to church, we are inviting people to a life of hope. We are not asking anything from them. We are inviting them to something. We want something for them. And so we want our hope for them to bleed through in that invitation. Fourth thing, don't take it personally. One of the things that is true about inviting people to church is it takes regular invitations to church. So even if they say no, the first week, second week, third week, fourth week of this series, don't take it personal. Some people will say yes and not show up for many months or even years. Some people will say no, but eventually turn around and say it. The reality is we want to be the type of people who are firmly grounded in our identity of the gospel. That a person's rejection of our invitation to church says nothing about us or our value. And the cool thing is when we can operate from a position of cool, calm, collection, and security in the gospel, it actually makes the hope lead through. Hopefully this is helpful for you and your group. And again, I encourage you to walk through this with people that are in your group or walk through with individuals in your group this dynamic to give them the coaching because as a small group leader, one of the ways that you can lead your people to take next steps is to lead them with training and content that they can put into practice outside of group. I think the last thing that would be a great part of the process of your small group is to not only go through this training, but do a couple things. One, write down people's names who they want to invite. Be specific. Have people write the person's names down or talk about it in group. Like, hey, I want Chucky Smith, my neighbor, to come. And then write those things down. And then you as a group leader, make sure that you do two things after that. You pray for that person as well as the person they want to invite that week. Go ahead. So go through each person, pray for that person, pray for who they want to invite, and then secondly, follow up with that people. A simple text message, a phone call, Facebook message to say, hey, how is that invitation coming? I know you said you wanted to invite. To continue to help push people and encourage people to take their next steps. Guys, thank you so much for being a leader at Grace Fellowship. We couldn't be the church we are without great leaders. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, invest in yourself, and help you not only coach your people to take your next steps, but also help your group take its next steps as a group. I appreciate you a lot. Looking forward to connecting with you, know you more as I get settled here at Grace Fellowship, and I'm excited for this marriage series coming up.